Yes, indeed. It is time once again for another Chicago Bears post-game show, Victory Monday edition. And yes, indeed, we are back on the Kanika Sports Channel talking Chicago Bears and a huge W over the Cleveland Browns yesterday at the frozen Soldier Field in Chicago. This is the good and the bad and the ugly post-game show, and we have a lot to talk about because not only did the Bears take care of business against the Cleveland Browns, but the Bears are once again atop the NFC North division and have risen from the number 7 seed to now be the number 2 seed behind the number 1 seed, LA Rams. So stay tuned. It is a carousel, I guess, every week it seems like here.
It's like a seesaw. Back and forth, back and forth.
Musical chairs. Yeah. The teams that are in it are kind of juggling around, but the teams that are out of it are staying out of it, I guess, for now. The Buccaneers being maybe the lone exception. They went out and back in thanks to the Carolina Panthers yesterday. More on that at the end of the show. But the good news is that the Bears take care of business against the Browns. That was our big kind of like mantra going into the week, was that the Bears needed to take care of business against the Browns. They do just that. And look at that, Nika. They did it with young PCA in the house at Soldier Field. Now, I got to point out here, where was the Chicago Bears merchandise team on this one? Because PCA has no Bears jacket on. He has no Bears hat on. He has no gloves on.
Nothing.
He looks plain Jane.
Plain vanilla PCA.
Pretty much, you know, like even the guy with blue hair, it's hard for him to look and not be flashy, I feel like. And yet here he is at the frozen 5-degree game time temperature Soldier Field. I look at this as a missed opportunity,
yes,
everybody.
Absolutely.
You always see the Coach Johnson had a Cubs jersey on at Wrigley Field when he threw out the first pitch. And
not here, huh?
Not here.
Missed the boat.
We didn't return the favor. I feel bad for PCA here.
Oh,
someone get that guy a Bears scarf at least. All right. Well, this was a commanding victory nonetheless, Nika. 31-3 over the Browns. Kevin Byard before the game. Let's handle business. I feel like this became a literal thing. We said this last week on our show, that this was kind of like a go and take care of business game. It seems like I was not the only one feeling that way. Even the Bears captain right here saying, let's handle business before the game. The Bears do just that. As you can see, they jump out to an early 14-0 lead. They tack on 14 more in the third to end the quarter 28-3, and then tack on just one field goal in the fourth quarter. The Browns do not find the end zone all day. Just an absolute ass kicking, a 28-point win.
They delivered the ass kicking to the Browns.
Yeah, the 7.5-point spread before the game was way off, as it ended in a 28-point ass kicking. Yeah, domination. This was a good, clean victory in especially freezing cold conditions, and that is just exactly what you want to see this time of year. When you're playing against a team that had nothing to lose yesterday. I was worried about this for that reason, and yet the Bears go out and do the exact opposite. This just shows me how well coached the Bears are this year. They're not losing like these trap games or even playing poorly. Like, I never felt like this game was in jeopardy. The only negative thing I wanted to maybe say about the Bears all day long was it felt like they should have been winning by more than they were at different points throughout the game.
Maybe the weather played a factor.
Possibly. It just feels good, you know, to go out and win a game like this when it had all the makings of being a letdown after the Packers sandwich, which you were faced with. And then you have that Green Bay game lurking again in the future. And you even have Caleb Williams acknowledging after the game, like he wants to play the Packers again. He wants to make up for that missed interception at the end of the game and whatnot. So,
well, they're going to have their chance this Saturday.
Yes, they are. And they're going to do it, like we said, on top of the NFC North division. Once again, the Packers and Bears will be playing for control of the division 2 times in 3 weeks. Can we handle this?
Ooh, It'll be tough, but yes, we can handle it. Can the team handle the pressure? Because it's a young quarterback. There's going to be a lot on his shoulders.
Yes. The Lions also lose yesterday to the Rams. They fall 2 games back of the Bears in the loss column, the all-important loss column, with 3 games left. So getting down to crunch time. Now the Bears and Lions, of course, play each other in the final week of the season. But the Packers lost yesterday at Denver. And not only did they lose, they had some injuries during that game that are monumental, I would say, on the season.
Well, play the Bears and you lose the next game.
we talked about that. That is so interesting. This, nevertheless, now sets up a fantastic finish to the season. We got Green Bay and Detroit at Soldier Field. And in the middle of that, we have to travel to San Francisco for week 17. So get ready, folks. Buckle up. The Bears are in position to possibly win the entire NFC.
Those are tough games, though, ahead.
No doubt. But we are starting to play some of our best football, I feel like. I know we beat up on a team that we should have beat yesterday, but to do it in such a dominating fashion just shows me that this is a team that's maturing and a team that is well coached. And when you have both of that going into December right now, anything can happen. Anything can happen. We even talked about Caleb Williams getting better before the season's over still. And there is still room for that to happen, even after yesterday, him playing really well.
Yeah.
All right, well, let us get us into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we are going to start with the good in this game, Nika.
Oh, there's no bad.
Well, there is going to be some bad and some ugly, actually.
Oh, but we're going to start with the good.
You know, we had the good, better, best post-game show, and I think that was just premature a little bit. It was kind of riding a high after the Eagles win, which is,
It happens.
you know, forgivable.
Absolutely.
It's forgivable. But I just want to rein it back in. You know, I want this team to go far, and in order to go far, they must realize that they have not reached their ceiling yet by any means. There's a lot of room for growth, even with this dominant of a team, a 10-4 team. So let's talk about the good, though, first. The Bears came in and played their brand of football in this game, Nika. That was one of our big keys to victory in this one. 0 turnovers on offense, 3 turnovers for the defense, including some really slick interceptions. You know, the Bears ball hawk just about as well as anybody I've seen in this NFL. They don't necessarily play the tightest coverage in pass, by the way. We're going to talk about that. But I feel like they do make up with it with their ball hawking skills. They come up with interceptions. They just get the ball. Kudos to them. Kudos to our quarterback, Caleb Williams, everybody. Now, Caleb Williams gets a lot of crap for accuracy. He gets a lot of crap for some scrambling, for missing passes, right? You know, and he's 24 years old. I feel like instant gratification culture has taken over the way quarterbacks are developed in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes winning like he did so early in his career kind of sped up this clock in people's heads, probably unfairly.
Oh, sure.
And so here we have Caleb Williams setting the NFL record for fewest interceptions in his first 1,000 career pass attempts. I just thought, not only is that awesome that a Bears quarterback is doing that, but I think it just puts into perspective how silly the criticism is on some of these younger players. And, you know, we have to let them develop and let them go through the training process a bit. And unfortunately for Caleb, he's in year 2 with a brand new offense in year 2. And, you know, it's completely different from everything he did last year. So I think despite all those things, he's doing pretty damn well for where he's at right now with a 10-4 team in his second year. And he has command of this offense. You know, they respect him in the huddle. You can tell they play clean. We had 4 penalties against yesterday for like 20 some yards. We won that battle.
That's a huge
Browns
improvement.
had 6 penalties, you know, but the Bears are playing much cleaner football of late, and that is a reflection of the quarterback, folks. It really is. It shows that he has command of the line of scrimmage when he's calling the plays and calling the audibles at the line of scrimmage. And Caleb deserves a pat on the back for not turning the ball over. People would be on him even more if he was throwing like even just 10 more interceptions in his. Imagine Oh,
Zero patience by the fandom and the media in Chicagoland.
a really great game here, by the way,
Yes.
from the kid. And again, we want to point out it was like 5 degrees. It was sunny out on TV, but you can see the breath coming out of his mouth in the picture there. It is cold. Caleb goes 17 for 28 for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns to DJ Moore. And I want to say something about that DJ Moore in a second, but also no interceptions, like we said, a 112.5 passer rating, and an 8.6 yards per attempt. I mean, these are all really solid numbers considering how cold it was yesterday. So great job all around by this Bears team for taking care of business on offense, getting the job done. DJ Moore gets a game ball after this game, and I want to say something else about this Bears team that I really have come to like, and that is that all we heard throughout a week was that DJ Moore had 1 catch versus the Packers for -4 yards, and that maybe the Bears should trade him in the offseason because clearly he and Caleb Williams don't have a good connection. Well, here we have him getting 2 touchdown catches in this game, 4 catches total out of 5 targets, and he finds the end zone twice, has a pretty big game for Caleb, and including that huge catch, which everyone's going to be talking about that play. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you haven't watched the highlights of this game. But that throw, that pinpoint accurate throw in the third quarter to put the Bears up by 3 touchdowns, that was the nail in the coffin. And what a nail it was. It was a dart,
great
man.
pass and a catch.
Both. Yes. It was so fun to see, and just 2 guys making a great play together. Awesome. I think the Bears haven't won in so long that the fan base sometimes doesn't know how to react to all these things collectively as they happen in real time. And luckily, we have a great head coach in Ben Johnson to handle a lot of this for us right now.
Yeah, we are very unfamiliar with the victories.
So all around, great numbers from Caleb Williams. He did get sacked 3 times yesterday, which was not awesome. But the Browns, we talked about this ahead of the game. They were 3rd in the NFL in sacks, so that's one thing that they do well. Luckily, it didn't derail our game plan at all. So the Bears obviously win, dominating 31-3. And they dominated a lot in this game, Nika. Time of possession. We talked about this ahead of the game. This was something that the Bears needed to do in this game, and they get it done. They have the ball for 33 minutes compared to Cleveland only 27 minutes. And it was a large part due to the running game. They get 142 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns from DeAndre Swift. He gets the player of the game nod right here. 98 yards total, 5.4 yards per carry. Kyle Monangai, not quite as effective in this one. 11 carries for 33 yards, including a 9-yard long. Nevertheless, I like the fact that the Bears have this 2-headed running back machine. And, you know, when you have these games in cold weather and you can control the clock, I think 9 out of 10 times you're going to win the game. That was one of our keys to the victory. So a great job. Another key to the game executed. So when you look at just the Bears getting the turnovers on defense, controlling the clock with the running game, and then just getting solid quarterback play out of Caleb Williams, they checked all of our boxes from pregame, our 3 keys to the game. Great job. And speaking of that defense, they hold Cleveland to under 200 yards total on the day. And when you're a team that's getting over 350 yards on average, like the Bears are, you're going to win, you know? So like I said, the only thing that I felt like is like the Bears could have been up by even more at various points in this game. And again, I think that will come with seasoning and experience.
Absolutely.
You know, and hopefully we'll get some of those fourth quarters where the backup quarterback can go in and play because it's literally scrub time. We haven't had one of those games yet where
it's a young team. You got to
of
give it some
course.
time.
Yeah, no, I know. But just a great job. So, like I said, some slick interceptions. Jalen Johnson, the way he intercepted that ball in the end zone from Jerry Jeudy, that was an excellent interception, you know, and that speaks to the ball hawking. It's not about whether they catch it or not. It's about who ends up with it in the end.
Yep.
So great job, all around team victory by the Bears in this one in week 15. And then we head into the final 3. Now there was some bad in this one.
Okay.
And I want to talk about the bad really quick. The Bears gave up a couple of big plays in this game, in the passing game, and it just makes me nervous with Green Bay. Christian Watson, of course, he was injured. He had to be taken to a hospital in Denver yesterday for Green Bay, but all signs are that he's actually
Coming
okay
back.
and
Yeah.
that he's day-to-day right now. He may play this week. The Bears get burned deep a lot, it seems like. They got burned deep a couple times against the Packers, and it really hurt them because the Packers will sniff out the end zone on you, and they will move the ball fast.
They are a quick team to respond.
And 2 plays yesterday for the Browns attributed to half of their total passing yards in the entire game. Shadur Sanders finishes the game with 177 yards, 3 interceptions, like we said. But he did show signs of being able to throw a nice, pretty deep ball. And he hit 2 pretty nice deep balls yesterday for 89 total yards. That's half of 177, folks. So when you're getting half of your passing yards on 2 plays, and then you're facing Jordan Love the following week, like, we got to tighten up some things in the secondary and not just rely on the interceptions, because Jordan Love, despite the fact that he threw an interception against the Bears last week and threw 2 against the Broncos yesterday, he doesn't turn the ball over that much. So, don't expect it coming into the week that he's going to throw interceptions against you. We got to tighten up that secondary coverage a little bit. And we got to do it if we're going to play Matt Stafford and Jared Goff, by the way, too. So if you really, really want to win the NFC this year and go to the Super Bowl, then we got to tighten this up. It's not just about Jordan Love. Again, I want to repeat this. It felt like we could have added more points earlier in this game and really just put this one to bed at halftime almost. And one of the reasons for that is we were 5 for 13 on 3rd down yesterday. And I thought that was really uncharacteristic of this Bears team. They've been really good on 3rd down this year. And you see that a lot of times in the game. They will come up with big 3rd down conversions, even on 3rd and long, and be like, oh, right, well, we're going to keep this drive going, Here yesterday, not so much the case. Now, again, Cleveland, pretty good defense. So not the worst tune-up game for the Bears against the Packers, because, the Browns did have that devastating pass rush on us, and they can make Caleb scramble out of the pocket. But having said that, I still think our play calling needs to get a little bit better sometimes, like 3rd and 1. Why are we not running the ball? Why are we passing? And
maybe because of the cold yesterday, the strategy was a bit different.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit head scratcher territory sometimes for me. It's like, I'd rather just take the yard, even on a QB sneak or something, and keep the drive going and throw on 1st down. Again, I'm not gonna criticize too much when you win 31-3. This is just me being nitpicky and noticing 5 for 13 on 3rd down. And then remembering, we had that 3rd and 1 where we didn't run the ball. And that really aggravated me. So
maybe this is more Ben Johnson style, or he's trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work on certain situations.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in a second with the ugly, but I feel like there could have been some experimentation going on in this game yesterday that we don't know about behind the scenes, even at the highest of the coaching staff levels, because of the matchup and the game, and just knowing that we were dominating this team. And even if somehow the game would have gotten close, I think the Bears would have figured out a way to win it at the end, because they were just clearly the better football team yesterday. Having said that, maybe there was let's give teams this look and set up something else on the tape for later on in the season, to fake it.
Plays.
We saw a great fake last night in the Dallas Minnesota game where JJ McCarthy did the quarterback bootleg. Classic, man. And he was all alone, untouched into the end zone, and
Cowboys were left in the dust on that one.
Yes. And I think they must have seen something on the film that made them crash that hard, and McCarthy just had the naked bootleg.
Yeah.
Naked for a reason. No one covered it. All right. Well, having said that, let's turn our attention to a little bit of the ugliness in this game, and that is injuries coming for the Bears, and not just the Bears, but for the entire NFL. Nika, it is week 15, and we saw some heartbreakers yesterday in the NFL.
But it is week 15, so injuries will happen. Your body is getting to the point that it's taking in a lot more.
It's had a toll.
Yeah.
It is
mileage.
Got a lot of games. It's 3/4 of the season. Teams going into yesterday have 4 games left. And all teams did, because there's no more bye teams. All right. Well, I'm going to start with the worst news for the Bears. Roma Dunze was scratched before the game after being activated and was going to play in this game. This is, I think, a worst case scenario for the Bears actually with him. And I don't know if he's going to be able to go this week against Green Bay or if this is like a major setback and he might be like close to being out for the season, you know. To complicate matters even more, Luther Burden III, he left the game yesterday with an ankle injury and was questionable to return. He did not return. I hope for the best with him that he just tweaked it. I'm holding out to hope because of the fact that it said questionable to return and not like
unable
doubtful or ruled out. Okay. That's when you know something serious has happened, but he might be limited in practice this week. And the point is if Rome and Luther Burden are both out against the Packers this weekend, that leaves us with DJ Moore and Olamide Zaccheaus as our 1 and 2 receivers going into this game. And that's really not ideal going against Green Bay. It is that, like we said, time of the year. And I wanted to start with the Bears because in retrospect, what's going on with the Bears probably doesn't look too major when you consider what's happening with the Packers, Nika. And that is that Micah Parsons, the star defensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers, looked to have suffered an ACL injury yesterday during the game. We saw this happen in real time. I even came and got you. I was like, you got to see what's happening right now because it was just so shocking to see him down on the ground like that. We don't know yet for sure that he has a torn ACL because I guess the MRI results are not in yet. And I'm kind of following the internet while we're recording, but I'm not really able to do it as well.
Okay.
But
nothing popped out as a breaking news yet, and I would imagine it would have.
This was from Matt Schneidman. He's a beat reporter for the Green Bay Packers. It says, tests today will likely confirm Micah Parsons tore his ACL. It's a crushing blow for the walking wounded Packers who need a Herculean effort to keep their Super Bowl hopes afloat. An excerpt from this article underneath reads, another dominant season from a future first ballot Hall of Famer is likely over just like that. Along with it, the Packers' realistic championship hopes too. It's hard to put championship hopes on one player's shoulders, and yet it's hard to feel like this is not the case for the Green Bay Packers in some regard. They lose their big pass rush and basically their disruptor on defense. And it just it leaves people walking away from this feeling like they're not the same team, right? And in the meantime, they suffer this huge loss on the road to Denver. They are no longer in first place in the NFC North. They do hold a little bit of their own destiny in their own hands. They have to play the Bears this weekend in Chicago, and then they have to finish out the season, of course. They have to play the Ravens, and I think the Vikings as their final 3 opponents. And so 2 out of those 3 games are going to be tough for them.
Absolutely.
And the Vikings game might be even tougher than they think after the way they played last night in Dallas. So I don't know where this leaves the Packers. I think we're going to see what they are made of as a team this weekend. Whether they win or lose to the Bears, I think we will know whether this has totally ruined their season or if there's still hope for them. And I'm saying that whether they win or lose, we might get the same result. You know, like
it doesn't really
even
matter.
if they lose, they might not be dead. I want to see what they look like after this because, like I said, it's kind of a morally disruptive injury, right? It can damage where your team is at mentally.
Mentally,
that
absolutely.
flight home might not have felt really great last night. And how does that carry into this week, to this press conferences today? They might get some good news about Christian Watson, it sounds like, their star wide receiver. But he's not the Taj Mahal like Micah Parsons is. I kind of want to leave this episode with some final thoughts here and say that my heart does truly go out to my Green Bay friends. I have friends who are Green Bay Packer fans, and if indeed Micah Parsons has this ACL tear and it's confirmed, I totally understand how devastating that could be to you. Unfortunately, it is also the nature of the game that we love. You know, injuries are a weekly occurrence right now, and nobody was feeling sorry for the Bears a couple weeks ago when they lost 4 of their 5 top starting linebackers. So we weathered that storm. once the game starts, none of these things and none of these feelings matter anymore. You don't feel sorry for your opponent on the field ever when you're on the field. Matt LaFleur himself knows this, Nika.
Of course.
He said this after the game last night. I told the guys, quote, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We've got to rally around one another, and everybody is going to have to elevate their play.
Absolutely. He's spot on.
He is spot on. And so the Green Bay Packers are not folding in the towel right now because Micah Parsons got hurt, at least not according to these quotes and these things coming out. So I will expect them to come in well prepared and ready to take this division back from the Bears on Saturday night. And it's up to the Bears to match them, especially early in the game. If the Bears can win this game against the Packers early, I think it gives them the upper hand to win this game later. They got to match their energy, though, coming out of it, because if Parsons is truly out, they are going to come out with tons of adrenaline and tons of energy, but they are going to be susceptible to blowing through that energy quickly and not being able to have enough to maintain it for the rest of the game. I firmly believe that this is for the Bears, and this is for the taking right now. This is a huge, huge week of preparation, a huge game. Once again, these old rivals are playing for the top of the division. I mean, the NFL must be just like, oh, yes. And this game will be on NBC. This game will be on Peacock. This is a big one, folks. And
this is one of the bigger games this week.
I mean, this is the biggest game all year now for the Bears. The Bears win this game, too. It almost for sure gives them a clinching playoff spot. Having said all this, I'm much more confident than I ever have been, I think, in any Bears team that they are well equipped to handle this situation, mostly because of their head coach right now.
Yeah.
We are truly lucky to have landed him as our head coach. They have a real chance now to do something special this year, right now. And you don't apologize for that.
No,
you don't apologize for that because your arch rival lost their best defensive player in week 15. I'm sorry. But if it's there for the taking, once the game starts, it's all hands on deck.
It's part of the game. Injuries and rivalries, all that stuff is part.
And it was a risk the Packers took before they made this trade by giving up their next 2 first-round draft picks for it. You know, you can be impatient in the NFL, more so than baseball, I think. When one player can get injured and ruin it all, you should second-guess that a little bit before you give up so much. But you know, a lot of people criticize the Bears for not pushing all in and going after Micah Parsons the way the Packers did. And yet, imagine if this would have happened to the Bears and Micah Parsons gets hurt now and they're in the same exact position going into this Bears-Packers. Like, oh, my gosh.
Maybe there is the world in the multiverse that we live in with that scenario.
Possibly. But, I mean, it almost makes you like, whew, right?
Yeah.
Like now we kind of have the upper hand going into the final 4 weeks.
But don't think about it too lightly. You still have to prepare. You still got to give your best.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, if they do that, then I think it gives us the upper edge.
Yes.
Without him being in the middle of their defensive line.
Absolutely.
So that's all I'm saying. And it could turn out that his x-rays or his MRI is negative. Sure. I'm not saying he will play this week, though. Not the way he walked off.
Might need a longer recovery time if nothing is broken.
We'll see. We will wait and see. All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Chicago Bears post-game show victory edition right here on the Kanika Sports Channel. This was fun. The Bears move to 10-4, everybody. We get double digits in wins in Ben Johnson's first year. That's exciting. I'm excited. You're excited. Nika's excited. And we have 3 games remaining to see where we land, Nika. I think the Bears are going to be playoff bound, but we don't know where. But we have work to do. Thank you again for tuning in. Go Bears. See you soon, everybody.